and we took her on a college campus there, and hopefully she'll become a Tuskegeeite, because that school just, I mean, the history there is like remarkable. It's really a Black Wall Street kind of place. I couldn't believe the city of Tuskegee didn't reflect just the power of that legacy there. And I think over time that's going to change. I think over time you're going to start seeing millions, perhaps billions of dollars invested in places like that, because we'll understand these places are the economic meccas of the Black community. So the same way white people invest in New York City, the same way Chinese people invest in Shanghai, the same way people in England invest in London. I think that the Tuskegees and the Tulsas are going to become economic centers of power and black commerce within the United States. And then also, you'll start to see some of this emerge in different parts of Africa as well. Just be patient. Just be patient. One thing that a lot of us forget is that economic journeys don't happen overnight. In fact, you may go your whole lifetime and not see any significant evidence that anything that we're doing is really going to make a remarkable difference. And the reason I can tell you that it will make a difference is because I know history. And if you look at how any great empire, any great family, any great community became economically powerful, a lot of that came from, multiple generations of people being committed to similar ideas, right? Just like the Jewish community, they didn't become wealth champions of the world overnight. They had to go through some things. They had to go through some tragedies. They had to go through the Holocaust. They had to endure mistakes that they made along the way. And now they're one of the most powerful communities on the planet. They probably control the media that you watch on TV every day. Let's just be honest. Watch the BET Awards. That wasn't the BET Awards. That was the JET Awards, if you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not hating on it. There's nothing wrong with that. I respect power, period. But y'all know what it is. You know who you can upset and who you cannot upset in America. And I'm not mad at anybody who protects their power. Nobody. So anyway, with that being said, one of the things I wanted to talk about quickly is first off, if you have a question, today let's do sorry, hold on. Let's do some Q&A. So today, if you have a question, put it in the Q&A section. Make it short, like one sentence. Like if it's super long, if you write a whole dissertation, then I'm going to read the first sentence. So if you write 10 paragraphs, you better make the first sentence important because that's what I'm going to read. And I will answer any and all of your wealth questions in there. If you have a question about options, that's kind of on that detail side, let's save that for options class because options, not everybody understands how that works, and I don't want to talk over anybody's head. But if you have any specific questions about anything, you could talk about that. Now, let me tell you guys about something that I'm about to do when it comes to stock. I'm gonna buy shares in Nike, and in fact, not only am I um, talking about buying it, I'm opening my app right now because I like to do stuff in the moment. You got to do stuff in the moment. You can't wait. You can't say stop saying you're going to do stuff later, most of us are trained to operate on level one. Like one day I'm gonna do this, one day I'm gonna do that, right? I believe you should operate on level two. Level two is where you say today I'm going to do this. Today I'm going to do that. So we don't do level one up in here. Ain't no level one Negroes up in here. We ain't trying to be level one Negroes because everybody, you know how it is. You got people like, oh, one day I'm gonna do this, one day I'm gonna do that. And then one day never arrives because you disconnect your future from your present, right? We don't psychologically understand that what we're going to do in the future is typically very deeply connected to what we do in the next moment. So I can't say like, okay, one day I'm going to be an Olympic athlete, but today I'm gonna go eat me some potato chips and some chocolate cake and some hog mogs. No, if you're going to be an Olympic champion, you got to start eating like one right now, most likely. And if you don't, then that leads to some skepticism with regard to whether or not you're going to actually follow through. And that's probably just a pet peeve of mine, to be honest with you, because I remember meeting my biological father for the first time when I was 14, and I didn't know much about anything at that time. And by the way, I'm buying my Nike stock as I talk to you. Like that's literally how I think you should buy stock. I think if you want to be a stock market investor, which everybody should be, give me a yes if you're a stock market investor. Give me a yes in the chat if you are consistently investing in the market. If your answer is no, that's okay. But give me a yes if you're doing this for your family I've told you guys over and over again, and this is simple. You don't have to go to college to learn this. The stock market is that's where the money's at. That's where the wealth is built. Okay. So I really want you participating in the greatest wealth driver in this country for the last 100 years. So the way you should buy stock, in my opinion, is the same way you buy groceries. You don't remember every time you went to the grocery store, so you shouldn't remember every time you go and buy stock. So right now, I'm hopping in here. I'm about to buy me some Nike shares. Let me tell you why I'm buying Nike. I'm buying Nike because they just made this partnership with Kim Kardashian, and they're gonna start selling these Skims or something, and they're gonna do like a Nike version of Skims or. And I didn't know Kim Kardashian was an athlete. I heard she was an athlete in the bedroom, but I didn't know she was an athlete outside of that. And but apparently Nike understands the power of the Kardashian brand, and let me just tell you that brand is powerful. It's everywhere. I went to China, saw all the Kardashians on a big billboard in China. It was crazy, and so so here's what happened, right? So I was listening to a report where where Nike was partnering with the Kardashians on these skim products, and I listened to it, and the analysts seemed to like it, and they seemed to feel that this could take Nike on a positive trajectory. And I said, yeah, that sounds interesting. So I mentioned to my wife, I said, yeah, Nike's going to partner with Kim Kardashian, on these Skims, and she said, oh, I love Skims. Oh, those are comfortable clothes. Those are so good, right? So I'm hearing a woman talk about how much she loves that product. And then I hear the analyst say, "Hey, this looks good for Nike." So I'm like, "Okay, let me go ahead and get my family a little more involved in Nike." So that's why I'm buying Nike. This is not investing advice, so do not take it as that. But it is something that I'm doing, and it's just me sharing with you. And if you're offended that I said Kim Kardashian was an athlete in the bedroom, well, you need to go talk to her and Ray J about that because y'all know how she got famous. Y'all know how Kim Kardashian. I'm sorry, y'all know what happened. Maybe some of y'all are too. Y'all know, but y'all know that black girls can't do that. Black girls can't do the whole like I made a tape with a guy and then now I'm like this respected international brand. Montana Fishburne. Anybody know Montana Fishburne? Y'all remember Montana? Poor baby. She hung out. Sometimes we be thinking we white. That's why sometimes we forget. We really forget that we're black. I'm not making fun of anybody, but it's true, right? So she hung out with the Hollywood type. She was hanging out with Kim, and Kim was like, "Yeah, I made a sex tape, and now I'm famous." And so Montana's like, "Oh, I'll do the same thing." And it didn't work out for Montana. She was Lawrence Fishburne's daughter, and that poor baby. I mean, she became a drug addict and a porn star. That's what she became. That poor thing. I mean, so don't try this at home. So anyway, but putting that to the side and not getting too sidetracked. But y'all know how I am. Right? But these are all economic conversations. I promise you. These are See, y'all. Some people think, oh, or you're just talking about anything. No, I do that. But this is an economic conversation. Why is that? Well, because here, pay attention now. Let's make this an economic lesson. I got a PhD in finance, so I know how to do this. This is my magic trick. Okay, so Kim Kardashian is a billionaire, and the origin story of her billionaire status starts with this thing that she does with this guy, Ray J, in the bedroom 20 something years ago. That's how it started. And she built her brand. I have a friend named Jamarlin Martin who ran a site called Bossip. And he said that in the very beginning, Kim used to call us every day and she would promote herself. She would literally try to get on the cover of our website every single day because at that time, no one knew who she was. And now she's been able to parlay that into whatever the Kardashians have. And a lot of this, as much as we want to just link it to the simplicity of a white girl having sex, I think that will be overly simplistic because there's a lot of brand management that has occurred in this family that has created this multi-billion dollar empire, not billion dollar empire, multi-billion dollar empire. The other thing about the Kardashian family, see, y'all know, see, I'm not, see, so y'all see how this is becoming a wealth lesson, right? Give me a yes if you're following this, okay? I want to make sure, because sometimes they're like, you're not talking about no fine, you ain't talking about no money, you over here, you talking about Kardashian. For the people that are new, we got to help them understand how we do stuff up in here, right? But this is we know this is what we do. We know this, all right? So here's the thing. Um, the Kardashian family, their wealth is very contagious. If any of you in this room became a Kardashian tomorrow, you'd probably be a billionaire the day after tomorrow. They know how to parlay the success of one brand into the next brand. So ironically, as much as I might make fun of the way that they got their money, because I don't think that stuff works for black people. They do actually practice a lot of the principles that I talk about in my book, The Ten Commandments of Black Economic Power. They make sure that every single member of that family is worth several $100 million. I think they have 3 or 4 billionaires in their family in terms of the children, right? And this it doesn't happen by accident. This happens very strategically. Let's just be clear. Um, Also, the other piece to this, the other financial lesson, in case you're looking for the financial lesson in the middle of all this, is that everybody that wants to acquire wealth and money, every single person in this room, when you've gotten up and said, "Man, I got to go get some money," everybody said this. Everybody's had this conversation with themselves at some point because you live in America. There was always a predetermined, what I might call a wealth path that you had been exposed to that told you how to get your money. Everybody has a wealth path. Everybody has a money path because everybody needs money just like you need food. Money is your financial food. So the same way when you get hungry and you say, I got to find a path to the kitchen. I need to find a pathway to food. Some of you go into your refrigerator and open the door and you whip up a salad. Some of you go to the pantry and you grab a bag of potato chips and maybe a hot dog out of the refrigerator. Some of you get in the car, you drive around the corner to McDonald's. Some of you may get in the car and drive around the corner to the health food store. Some of you may get in the car and drive around to the local farmer's market to get some fresh fruits and vegetables. But all of you, if when you're hungry, you have a pathway to the food. You have something pre-programmed in your head. Uber Eats. Thank you, Lady Emma. I forgot about that. Some of you have Uber Eats, right? So here's the thing. We might all have the exact same inclination at the same time, but we might have 1,000 different ways of solving that problem, right? Like there's over 1,000 people in this room right now listening. So, even though we might all have the same desire, the same goal, we all have different pathways to get there. Well, wealth is the same way. So the same way you have a path to get physical food, you also have a predetermined path that shapes how you go about getting your financial food. So if all of us in this room at the same time have gone through this process of saying, "Man, I need some money." Well, for about 90% of all black people, the wealth path is, oh, well, you better go to school and fill out a resume and get a good job and go serve Mr. Charlie at the job so that he will write you a check and you will then have money. And one of the things that we've advocated for consistently with the Black Business School is that you have to broaden your wealth path. You have to look at all the different paths that are available, and then but here's the problem. Here's one risk factor that isn't discussed very much. In the midst of all of us expanding our portfolio of wealth paths and our set of options and different ways that we go about getting money, there's not always a clear assessment of how risky different paths might be. So you might have somebody who says, I remember hearing Ice Cube in a song a long time ago say, "I'm not with working at McDonald's. I don't want to, I don't want to work at Burger King, so I'm going to go rob somebody." Right? That's a very risky wealth path. It's different, but it's risky. Somebody else might say, "Gosh, I want to go get some money, so I found a crypto. My cousin told me about a crypto that costs a nickel, and if the nickel turns into $1, then I'm a 20x my money in a week." That's a risky wealth path. That's a wealth path that's probably not going to work. Or we've talked about the blessing loom, where your cousin sends you an email that says, if you put in $500 and I put in $500, we'll both have $5,000, right? And it's like Jesus math or something, right? And it's the kind of it's that math that doesn't actually work in a math class. But somehow, if four people put in $5,000 apiece, all y'all end up with $5,000. That's a miracle that is hard to pull off without running a massive counterfeit operation or something, right? So basically, you have the expansion of the wealth path is something that doesn't just have to occur, but it has to be done in a way that is financially conscious enough that you understand which wealth paths are going to work for you and which ones are not. Let's go back to Kim Kardashian and the Montana fish burn because as a black father, that whole story just made me furious. I was so furious. I was so furious. And let me tell you why I'm furious. I'm furious because I care about black girls and daughters, and I hate it when we go through life believing that we're not black anymore. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes we just forget. And so poor Montana is sitting up in Hollywood meeting all these little kids from different backgrounds and forgets, that some things, some wealth paths are going to work for, might work for a Kardashian, but they may not work for you. And so she decides that she wants to go the Kim Kardashian path and ruins her life in the process. And I would say that this is a reminder that in America there are some wealth paths that work differently based not just on skill set and all these other things, but also just based on who you are. Like there are things, and this is why you have to be really careful about the benefits, the pros and cons of integrations, because sometimes it can get you to let your guard down, where you really forget that no, as a black man, they're going to look at me different than the way they look at everybody else. It doesn't mean that they hate me. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean they're trying to be harmful. But the best piece of news I ever received in my life, the most beneficial, most helpful piece of information I ever received was when the world reminded me, no, you're a black man and you can't do everything everybody else does. Like, and a lot of us knew that, right? Our grandmothers who grew up before integration, they knew this. Your grandfather knew that. But then we kind of forgot that about 1960s-ish on, we kind of started blending slowly in and thinking that America's this melting pot and that race was just a figment of our imagination. That was when we remember the whole conversation when Obama got elected about a post-racial society and all that stuff. Remember they had that conversation for like a year and then they were like, "Oh wait, we're not post-racial. Race still matters." It does, it does, it does. And so what that says is that and this is why black wealth is not the same as white wealth. This is why, when people say, well, you're just talking about wealth. Isn't wealth the same for everyone? No, it's not. Because the economic paths that we are best able to pursue are going to be unique based on our positioning and our experience in this country. Now, it's not all a deficiency though. It's not all some sort of a liability, right? So don't put yourself in a disabled category. We're not doing that today. Being black, in my opinion, provides not just some challenges when it comes to pursuing specific wealth paths, but it provides some opportunities as well. I think that there are tremendous opportunities that come with being black. In fact, the more I meditate on it, the more I love being black. I wouldn't trade my race for any other race. I don't want to be a white guy. I don't want to be Asian. I don't sit around and fantasize about being a white woman. That's not interesting. I wouldn't know how to be a white woman. I wouldn't fit. I don't even like Taylor Swift. So the reality is that if you acclimate yourself to your specific and unique circumstance and truly are honest with yourself about the realities that you face and truly embrace what's in front of you instead of wishing you had something that somebody else has or complaining that you have something that's different from someone else. I think you'll find that that actually gives you a huge advantage relative to people who are trying to be a square peg fitting into a round hole. So when you talk about economic paths, and I'm going to answer questions in a second after this, but I want that'll be my point today. Is when you think about money, it's not just about making money. That's easy. I want you to think about how you make your money and how you plan to make more money and which path is going to actually work for you, which is going to be the most frustrating for you. Part of that might be driven by your unique personality, your unique skill sets. Some of it may be driven by your ethical disposition, things that you will and won't tolerate. Some of it may be driven by other areas of life, like who do you want to make money with? I like making money, but I don't like making money with people that I don't like. I don't want to work with anybody that's not a good person. That's not fun for me. Right? I'm on this journey called life. I'm only going to do it one time that I know of, and I don't want to waste it with a bunch of jerks around me. Well, we're making money, and like that's supposed to make everything better. It doesn't make everything better. Okay? So So ultimately, in Montana that we were talking about earlier is Montana Fishburne, the daughter of Lawrence Fishburne, the actor, by the way, in case y'all didn't, in case you're late, in case you just got here. Um, so think about what your wealth path looks like. And I think it's important that you make sure that your children understand that a black person's path to prosperity in many cases may not be the same as someone who is not black. That and that's just a reality. It's not fair all the time. But if you embrace that and understand that, then you can pivot and not waste your time pursuing a path that may or may not be for you. Right. And also the limitation in the number of wealth paths that are presented to us as children is absolutely criminal. It is absolutely downright criminal that the majority of black children don't know anything about investing or starting a business. It is criminal for us to do this to our children. And I put it I'm indicting us. I'm not indicting the white man or America, and sure, they play a part in this. I'm indicting you, I'm indicting me, I'm indicting us because those are our kids. Those are our babies. And I don't care what nobody says. Complaining about somebody who abuses your child is not the same as stopping the abuse and protecting the child. Protecting the child and stopping the abuse should be the top priority, not letting your child get abused and then saying, "Yep, the white man did it again." If he did it again, why you keep letting him do it? Why you keep letting them do it? I can't save every kid out here, but if I could, I would. I would. If I could take over the whole damn school system tomorrow and put all those kids in a wealth program, I would do it. I would have, you know what I would do if I took over the schools tomorrow? I would have every child know at least five different wealth paths, five different healthy ways to make money that are going to make them successful and have them master those things. And then number two, I would make sure all those kids had a dang trade. It's crazy to me that I got to go hire some Mexicans or some Iranians or some Ukrainians to go and get work done on my house. I need plumbing. I can't find a black plumber. I'm looking. You need carpentry work. You can't find the black carpenter. You need an extension built on your house. There's some Russian company that's like super efficient and fairly priced is going to come, and then the Russians, and then they collaborate. We got something done, and we so the Russians came in and they were working, and the Russian guy goes, the Mexicans will be coming tomorrow. That's what he literally said. He said the Mexicans will be in tomorrow. So the next day, a bunch of Mexicans rolled up in a truck and like were just running up in and out of our house. And then another group of people came in. So everybody's kind of in on this whole building thing and wealth thing and this economic activity thing, and we all rapping and playing basketball or whatever some of our kids are doing. I don't know what the hell everybody's doing, scrolling social media, but it's crazy to me. So anyway, let me stop being an old man shaking my fist at the air. And just make that clear point. Okay, I want to make that clear point so that you know that we are talking about wealth today, and this is a wealth lesson that is simple yet very powerful, very important. Think carefully about your wealth path and have your family, have your children understand what a wealth path is. And so because it's not just like, okay, I want to make money. If you don't know how you're going to do it, then what makes you think that you're going to get it done? Or if you pick the same path that you saw somebody else follow and it's not for you, then it's probably going to lead to failure and a lot of stress and disappointment and anxiety that comes out of that, right? I'd say the least mentally healthy person in America is probably the black person who's angry all the time because they've been mistreated, because the American dream never arrived the way it was supposed to, because you went to Duke University and got and got the master's degree and worked hard on the job every day and still didn't get the promotion, still got passed over, still didn't get the opportunities you deserved. I would say that it might be because you need to expand your skill set just a little bit. Because remember this is another crazy thing about America. It's going to sound contradictory to everything I said, is that there's money everywhere. Like I can tell you as a person who knows the data, this country is full of money. Like America ain't got a whole lot. Like we done lost our morals. We done screwed up our kids. We don't, we ain't got our families. But America's got money. So if you know how to get positioned for that, then it will be a benefit for you. All right. So I'm gonna jump in and answer your questions in the Q&A section. If you put it in the chat, I probably won't see it. So put it in the Q&A section inside the Zoom. And if you want to get on the text list to be invited into the private Zoom every day, just pull out your phone and text the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning to 87948, or you can go to drboyceelevate.com. And for those of you that wanted to do business with us, I told you I invited the whole community to be our business partner. So I literally am selling autographed copies of my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, we dropped the price from $40 down to 8. So you can pay $8 plus shipping. Some of y'all are ordering 20, 30, 40 books at a time and you're reselling them. Because I think one of my team members said, well, we got to double check. Or is there a limit on the number of books people can order? Because I think some people might be reselling them and you don't want that. And I said, no, I really want that. I really want people to resell them because that's a win for you and it's a win for us, right? We're getting the message out. We're making a little bit of money, and then you're making your money by reselling, and you're sharing a message that you agree with, right? So we're partners, we're teammates, like we're all making this work together. And I hope that this message resonates with you because this is something I've always wanted. I want this to be a joint thing. I don't want it to be like, okay, one guy is gonna succeed and do well, and everyone else just watches. No, I want all of us winning together. And I think, look, if you're looking to start a business, go into business with me. Let me write. I'll write the books, and then you can sell them and make money from them and create book clubs and all this stuff, whatever you want to do. That's how we strengthen our community. That's how we take control of our destiny. We got this. We are the best. We can't be stopped when we put our minds to it, and that's what I want you to embrace. All right, so let's keep going here. All right, so by the way, if you want to get the books, you can go to 10commandments.boycewatkins.com. It's the number 10, the actual number, not the word, 10commandments.boycewatkins.com, and the $8 books are available. Knock yourself out, have fun. It's your thing. All right, so Calvin McWilliams. Calvin's such a smart man. Calvin's like super. Calvin has a way with words. You're probably a wordsmith or something, Calvin, because you always say stuff perfectly. What's your perspective on the multi-billionaire David Stewart? Thanks. I like Dave Stewart. I don't know much about exactly what he does, but Dave Stewart is, I think, the wealthiest black person in America, and he seems to be doing quite well. I'd love to see. Is the code morning 70 still working? I don't know if that code is still working inside the store. I gotta check that. If not, I can extend it if some of you still want to take advantage of that. But let me look in that lane. Let me not get distracted. So Dave Stewart, I don't know much about his company, right? And I hope that it's not one of those situations where you have a black owned business and a predominantly white management team. You have that a lot. You have a lot of the companies where they say, "Oh, this is a black owned business," but then when you look at at who's running the company and stuff like that, you find you don't see a lot of us, and that's sneaky, that's deceptive to me. It doesn't mean that you can't have people that are not black. It doesn't mean everybody has to be black. I don't think that has to be the case. In fact, I think that would be like illegal anyway to just exclude other people, period. But at the same time though, I remember getting calls from people from inside is it called TV One, Radio One? I don't know what the main company is called, but I did honestly, to be quite frank about it, I got calls from people that were in Kathy Hughes's organization who said, "Yeah, it's racist over there," and I was like, "What? Like what? What? Wait, what?" and, and then they showed me stuff, and I was kind of like, "Huh, okay." But again, I don't have anything negative to say about them. I've never met the folks over there, and they seem pretty nice. But I think it's kind of interesting, right? Now let's see, why would that be illegal when everyone else does it? Well, they do it, but they don't announce it. Like they don't say like we're for whites only. They'll say we'll hire anybody. We don't discriminate based on race, religion or whatever. But then you're right though. You will go to these companies and you'll see that their whole team will be one race, one gender sometimes. Is Elon Musk running the country? Probably, yeah, he is. Money runs America, by the way. Money runs America. Elon Musk has more money than any human being in the history of the world. So that's why Musk is running America. Absolutely. I mean, that's just there's always been some billionaire group, group of billionaires have been running America. When they started letting money into politics, that was a very bad idea, but it wasn't going to be stopped because America worships money. Your God is not in the church, your God is at the bank. that's where God lives in America. And unfortunately, that's not a healthy place to be because money can also be the devil. So yeah, we got some devil worshiping people up in here. What happened to Joy Reid? Was that DEI? I don't know what happened to Joy Reid. I heard Joy Reid lost her show on MSNBC. I did not watch it. And I hear some people that are happy about it. Some people are not happy about it. And that's up to you, just based on what your politics are. But I kind of feel like but that's the risk, right? That's just kind of what happens when like they will people will use they love to use black people for stuff, and so once they get done using you, or if you fail at your job, then they're going to get rid of you and they're going to replace you with somebody else. The election's over, so they're like, okay, well, now we ain't got to pretend, now we're going to go in a different direction. And that's pretty much the reality of life. Al Sharpton introduced me to the president of MSNBC in 2009. I can brag about that. He went out of his way, like he literally kept on saying, "Hey, I want you to meet the president of NBC. I want you." And I was like, "Why? Well, I'm not a TV show host, but I think they were feeling me out. Like, could this guy be a fit?" And of course, I wasn't. I'm just not good for roles like that. Melissa Harris Perry though was, and that led to her having a show, and she's a professor like me. And I met Melissa a couple times. I liked her. She was smart, and I think she got fired too. And I think that one of the reasons that I think it's great for black people to have our own businesses is because I don't know about y'all, but I get tired of being fired and stuff. I get tired of like people taking stuff away from me. Like, how the hell am I going to work hard to build something and then you just take it? Like it just like that's a if that's not a Paul Mooney wake up call, I don't know what is. Seriously, he called it something else, but I'm not gonna call it that because it's too early in the morning for me to call you the N word. I'm not gonna call nobody the N word. But the Paul Mooney wake up call to me is like, think about this. You done busted your butt building something and somebody just takes it from you. That's not healthy. I think you should try to have some sort of a stake in anything that you invest a significant part of your life into. Like for example, I think it would be kind of weird to spend all your time babysitting someone's kids and being the nanny and replacing the parents only to have those kids taken away from you after you formed an attachment to them. Maybe you can have your own kids, adopt or something, right? Or and the same thing is true when it comes to being an economic babysitter. We are trained to be the economic babysitters of America, the nannies. We will show up to work every day, bust our butts, pour our heart and soul into something, and then somebody just takes it away. And because corporations don't have a heart, you have a heart because you're a human being and you have a spirit, you have a soul, you have something that America does not have. You have a soul. And when you are pouring your heart and your soul into something and you're leading with love in the way that you do, you deserve to be compensated for that. You deserve an ROI for that. And so I would encourage you to find some things that you love that you're pouring into where you're going to at least be a partial beneficiary of those things. I'm not saying quit your job and tomorrow. I'm not saying that you have to be the owner of everything that you do, the 100% owner, the boss. And now, I'm not talking like that. Please don't do that because sometimes people, they take it the wrong way and they think, oh, I'm supposed to own everything I do. And no, I pour all the time into things that I don't own. I'm always giving in areas where I'm not gonna get an ROI directly. But when it comes to the stuff that I'm pouring most of my energy into, whether it's my family or my business or whatever, or my investments, those are areas where you can't take that from me. Even my PhD, you ain't taking that from me. So I love the idea of getting up every day as a black man and pouring into stuff where I'm like, y'all can't take this from, you can be mad at me, but you can't cancel me because I'm never going to fire myself. I'm never going to cancel myself. And sometimes having something that's small that you have an ownership stake in is so much bigger than having something big, bright, and flashy that where you are just a visitor. And that's the way it is with a job. You've been on the job 25 years and you don't own any piece of anything, like you don't have stock in the company, none of that, you are a visitor, and you can't pass that to your children, and that's a very devastating place to be when you go back and you reflect on what you've poured your energy into your entire life. So don't throw your whole life away and don't feel bad. Just adjust, just make those little pivots, and make sure you share that message with the kids so they'll be thoughtful about what they're investing in. Self-esteem is a big part of that. Love is everything. Love is where it all starts. It's all about love for your family, love for your community, love for yourself. Like I'm the person who I'm just the jerk who says things like I said yesterday, if you don't have life insurance, you don't love your kids. Any man or woman who doesn't have life insurance does not love their children. I'm sorry. I know you're gonna fight me all day, but I'm sorry, you don't love them because why would you make them suffer like that? Why would you abuse them like that? Why would you put them in harm's way that like that if you claim to love them? Love is an act. Love is a verb. Love is a responsibility. And so ultimately, love for others that you care about, but then also love for yourself impacts your self esteem as well. If you have higher self-esteem and self-worth, then you'll see that worth even if others don't see it. And if you see that worth, then we invest in things that we deem to be valuable. Do you understand? We invest in things, not only things that we value, but we invest in things that we own. Studies show that when people rent apartments or rent houses, they do not take care of the house the way they take care of it if they're the owner. Studies show that when people rent a car, they don't take care of the car the way they take care of it when they're the owner. So studies would also show that when you're talking about where you go get your money, what your wealth path is, what your income path is, if you don't own a piece of what you're involved with, you're not going to necessarily value it the way you would if you have something that's actually yours. And when it's yours, you'll pour into it, you'll love it, you'll nurture it, and that's really more prideful. There's a lot more pride attached to that than necessarily needing the validation of being attached to somebody's multi-billion dollar corporation. That's their corporation, not yours. But what happens is we get the symbolism. The symbolism makes us feel better about ourselves. This is why we created the Black Financial Therapy Department because we all need therapy because we're trained to believe that being black means you're kind of born just a Negro until someone validates you, until someone slaps a label on you. And that label might be a college degree from a prestigious institution. It might be a fancy job at a big company like a Nike or Google. So you get to wear the logo, wear the symbol. Like think about how much pride people take in their job if they're affiliated with a successful corporation. Their self-esteem starts to rise. And then what happens is that when they take away that job, they're not just taking away your source of income and your financial security, which is devastating enough. They're also taking away your identity and your self-esteem. Like they're ripping your soul out of your body. Now you don't know who the hell you are. Now you're lost. You're like, dang, I must be worthless because don't nobody want me. Well, I would be the person who says, well, why don't you want yourself? Like you don't why and why would anybody else want you if you don't even want you? You're selling yourself cheap because you don't even want you. Because if you wanted you, then you would be bidding for yourself. You would be in the competition to get a piece of you. You wouldn't sell yourself so quick and easy because you would say no. Like to get Boyce, you got to outbid Boyce because Boyce loves the hell out of Boyce, right? And I don't say it in a narcissistic way, but I see Boyce. I do my best to try to really see Boyce's value, Boyce's worth. I probably don't see it as well as I should. I still got to keep working on that because we all have the same problem. But literally if someone's like, hey, we'd love for you to be over here or over there or affiliated with this or affiliated with that, I would say, yeah, but it's gonna really cost you because you gotta outbid Boyce because Boyce got a whole lot of stuff for Boyce to do already, and he's already occupied on a very high level. Right? You got to, and it's true. It's really when I go and I don't really travel much for speeches and all that. Because you got to pay me enough to get me to leave my desk. Ain't no job out there that I could be doing in the world more important than what I'm doing right here with y'all. Nothing. There's absolutely nothing out there more important. So value you and what's around you and the people around you. That's the thing, the people around you. You pour into them, you invest in them, and then as you invest in them, the value grows. And as the value grows, you want to invest more. So start with the kids and the siblings and everything else. So invest in each other. And then what happens is that wealth becomes something that is more natural, more innate to your experience because you don't have to go out into the world to find wealth. The wealth is all around you. Like you're sitting in the middle of the gold mine and you ain't got to go nowhere to go get it. Everybody teaches you to go travel the world trying to go find your pot of gold. And for many of y'all, your pot of gold is right there in your own backyard. It is. It is. Even it happens all the time. Like you ever see where you have somebody that's really talented and the people in their own damn city don't even recognize their talent. The people, even their own family members don't even care. They're not even paying attention. They'll go kiss a stranger's ass or a celebrity's ass before they even realize that your cousin was like one of the most talented people in the world or what and it's not until somebody outside of the city starts to acknowledge that person that you start saying, "Oh, well, look at you. You must be somebody now." It's like, yeah, he's been practicing the guitar in front of you since he was 10, and you didn't even notice it until he was on a white man's TV screen. Then suddenly it's like, oh, look at him. Why didn't you see it in the beginning? Well, because maybe because you're a sheep. That's what it is. Most people can't see wealth, they can't see value until somebody else sees it, and then they're like, oh, there must be value there because other people said it's there. I don't want you to think that way. I want you to practice seeing value where it is without needing somebody else to co-sign on that. Sometimes you have to see like there have been people that I have seen, and I'm gonna go get back to your questions in a second. There have been people that I bumped into who eventually went on to just go on and do great things. You know, Killer Mike and D1, for example, in the entertainment space. And I take tremendous pride in the fact that I identified how great they were long before anybody else did. I loved Killer Mike in 2013, way before he won all the Grammys that he won last year. This past year, he swept the Grammy category in the hip hop, best album, best artist, best song or something. Right? He swept the Grammy categories, right? And but Mike, I mean it was like, oh, in my mind, it was like, oh, it's great that people are finally realizing how amazing he is. The same thing with D1, and same thing with Victory Boyd and a few other people. That's just entertainment, but then also in other areas, same thing. Um, it would be easy for me to identify their talent after everybody else sees it. Well, that that's there's nothing special about that, right? So identify that talent that's in your family before everyone else, and that's what investing is. Investing is where you see the value, you put your money and you stake your claim before everyone arrives, and then when everyone arrives and the value starts to naturally go up, you benefit from that. Like Kenny Gamble in Philadelphia became very wealthy because he bought a ton of property in black neighborhoods back in the 1970s when nobody wanted it. But Kenny saw the value. He said, "Oh, this is great property. This is downtown. It's right next to the water, stuff like that." Eventually, people will see the value. And that's what happened. Gentrification came along where suddenly white people realized, oh, black people aren't that scary after all. So they started coming back to the cities and they wanted to live next to the water. Well, guess who already owned that property when they arrived? Kenny Gamble. So this is part of what made him very wealthy. All right, so let's see here. Are there still tickets available for the A, B, and C? You know what, Rosa? Yeah, the tickets are going to go on sale again soon. We had to finish out some details. I'm actually hitting up my team about that now. Because and actually it's funny, Dr. Ken Harris, who we're partnering with the Black Business League, he just literally just texted me just now. So the tickets will be available soon. You guys will be the first ones to know. The All Black National Convention is our annual event that where we just get together and we do B1 stuff. There's lots of tons of stuff on economics, of course, but also things related to family and anything that's going to benefit our community, health, relationships, all that stuff. And we bring together black medical doctors, therapists, attorneys, real estate developers, investors. It's just a great experience. And this year is going to be a bigger deal because we're partnering with the Black Business League. So you're going to have 3,000 people there for one of the best gatherings, in the history of the Black community. We're talking about some, again, some Booker T. Washington level type stuff that's happening, some Marcus Garvey level stuff where literally, I think the presidents of 6 African countries are coming. So they're building these bridges to Africa. That's going to be the weekend of August 24th in Atlanta. The weekend of August 24th in Atlanta. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the guys from Earn Your Leisure are doing Invest Fest around that same time. So they're right down the street. I'm going to go over to Invest Fest and hang out too because I really like the energy they have over there. So I really see a lot of really positive things happening when it comes to wealth. Now the website, yeah, it's 10 tencommandments.boycewatkins.com. That's where you can get the $8 copies of my book autographed. And our middle child will send them to you. She's the one that we're trying to get to go to Tuskegee, so I gotta find somebody to help me ship my books because she'll be gone. But yeah, if you go to tencommandments.boycewatkins.com. Gary Hatcher, is selling options still a good thing right now? Selling stock options has been a great way to make money since options came into existence. I mean, it's been great for 60 years. So, yeah, it's always a good thing. It's something that, well, the market changes a lot. The market has weather, financial weather. So right now, I think some of the stocks you sell options on are down a little bit, but ownership is like that. Asset values change all the time. But yeah, I like selling stock options. That's the best way in the world to make money. If you're interested in taking a look at what we do, you can text the word options to the phone number 87948. So text options to 87948 and I will send you some information. All right, let's see. Will you be creating future courses to use with Robinhood and other platforms? We do have some stuff in the works. I know that with our stock market investors club, there's some stuff in there on Robinhood and investing. And in fact, actually, we're going to meet today at noon. And so if you want to do a free trial, just go to drboycestockmarket.com, drboycestockmarket.com. Let's see, Naomi, what's going on with stocks and crypto? They are melting. Yeah, Naomi, there's a lot of belief that the stock market is overpriced right now. There's a lot of belief. I think 85% of all investors believe the stock market is overvalued. So this is going to show up in terms of stock market prices and particularly risk on assets. So Bitcoin is has hit a 3 month low. It's below 90,000 for the first time in a while. I think that's a great buying opportunity for Bitcoin if you're patient. If I was to start investing in Bitcoin right now, what I would do is I would buy right now as much as I could, buy it consistently, and just give myself like 3 years to see results. Just give yourself a decently long time horizon and just say, I'm going to really, really check this investment in 2028 or 2029. Don't check it like Tuesday. Don't think it's going to all happen by next week. Investments grow like sycamore trees. These trees in the forest don't grow very quickly, and neither will some of your investments, although some of them, sometimes you get lucky. What do you think about REITs? How are they used? Great question, Carmen. I like REITs, real estate investment trusts. I think that they're excellent ways to get involved in real estate without actually having to buy any. So feel free to go to a Robinhood app and look up REIT, and you will find REITs all over the place. Okay, Armando, last week CNBS went from $1.82 to $20. Okay, I would not buy that stock because that's too much of a jump. The chances are this company's not 10 or 12 times more valuable than it was a week ago. I've been investing regularly, so now I had around 70 shares and looking to secure 100 shares. Not only is the stock up now, but shows I have only 5 shares. Oh, yeah. It sounds like the reason the stock price went up, Armando, is because they probably did a reverse stock split. That's not a good sign. A stock split on average, okay, a stock split is where you take a stock. It's like taking a pizza that's chopped into 4 slices and you just chop it into eight. It's the same size pizza, but now you have 8 slices instead of four, right? So if you own 20% of the pizza, you still have the same 20%. It just you just have more slices. A reverse stock split is where you take a pizza that's sliced into 20 slices and you reduce the number of slices down to like four, right? So you have bigger slices, but it's the same pizza. So a reverse stock split is typically bad news. That will typically reduce the value of a company because a reverse stock split is where the company says, okay, our price is too low and we want to make it higher. So if the stock price is $1.50 and they do a reverse split and the stock jumps up to $20, that's because they want a higher stock price because they can't get it any other way other than doing the reverse split. That's not so good. So that's why your number of shares dropped. It's because they just packaged your shares together. You own the same amount dollar wise. You probably, if you add up the dollar amount, it's probably still the same, roughly or close to it. But yeah, if you went from 70 shares down to five, that's because it was the reverse split. That's what did that. They didn't steal your money or anything. I would like help, Renee. I would like help starting a camp for fourth grade to high school. It will include every aspect of money, business, jobs, and savings. Great, good for you. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Um, yeah, if we can help in some way, I'd be happy to. There was, If you go to drboycebooks.com, we do have our financial workbooks for kids, if that will help you. And I mentioned to you all that you can get them at a really good wholesale price, 70% off, which reduces the price, I think, from $40 down to 12 or something. And again, you can resell them if you want to. Like, I'm not going to be offended by that. And you can use the code, if you go to drboycebooks.com, the discount code is morning70, all one word, morning70. Use that at checkout, and that will chop your price on the workbooks. And I think the code is still active. Yeah, it looks like it's active. It's still active for today. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com and look for the workbooks and click on or put morning 70, all one word, in the checkout. Let's see, John Trey, is there any good growth stocks that are priced less than $15 per share? What stock do I like that's under $15 a share? You said a good growth stock. Let me see. Let me see if I own what I own that's under $15 a share that I like. Not investing advice, of course. What's my favorite stock under $15? Well, I like HUT, HUT, but this is not investing advice. HUT's down though. HUT's down a lot. It's a great, but I like it also for the option potential. But I do own shares of it as well. But HUT has been taking a beating this month. It's down 37% this month, 45% over the last 3 months. So this is not a stock that is a high flyer now. It's also very volatile. But I like it. I do own a lot of it, and I'm going to keep buying more of it now that the price is down because eventually this too shall pass. That's, you just know it's eventually going to pass. How far down is it going to go? I don't know. I just want to own shares of the stock. Let's see. Who's spamming the chat? Wait, it said I saw someone said Dylan, please stop spamming the chat. Yeah, Dylan. Yeah, you did that on the EYL channel yesterday as well. Thank you, Andrea. Yeah, Dylan. I don't see you in there, but Dylan, if you spam in the chat, we're gonna have to ask you to leave. I have too many different companies I want to organize. Keep or sell. Okay. Yeah, that's too many. That's a lot. That's a lot. You don't have to copy and paste like a hundred companies. Okay. He says, I just need help. Well, how about this, Dylan? Go to drboystockmarket.com and you can jump into class and we could talk about them. But give them like one at a time and put your question in the Q&A section, Dylan. That'll help. I don't think Dylan means any harm. I think Dylan's just he's a very enthusiastic wealth builder, and I love you for that, man. All right, so let's see here. All right, so yeah, so and thank y'all for, loving each other through this. All right, so let's see. In the E-Trade app, what is the difference between set account value or net account value and cash value? Net account value, you know what? That's actually a great question, and I'm not 100% sure. Net account value and cash value. Would you mean maybe the cash that's maybe it references like the cash that's actually in your account that you can actually withdraw? And maybe that's what they're referring to. By the way, E-Trade has great customer support too, and so you can always like email them and they will answer the question for you. And so I can look this up and kind of give you my interpretation. Okay, so net account value represents the total value of your account, including your cash, your stock options, mutual funds, and other investments. Okay, so that can go up and down. The cash value, okay. The cash value is just the amount of cash in your account. So remember that when you're an investor, a lot of investors don't, they appear broke because they don't have any cash. And the reason they don't have any cash is because their cash is all deployed and it's allocated. It's all working for them. It's all getting something done. And so ultimately, the cash value is your liquidity. That's your ability to take advantage of new opportunities very fast. And that's it. And so sometimes having cash on the side can be beneficial, especially in a market like this where it's a little bit jumpy and you may find some buying opportunities. King May, do you have a system of some sort I can generate cash? So I do options, 725 credit score across the board. Um, well, I know in Prime, I show you guys my portfolio. What I do is I just own a bunch of stocks. I sell options on those stocks every week, and I generate cash from that on a regular basis. That's pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of managing the risk and stuff like that. But that works. That generates cash, you know. But again, these stocks can be volatile. Like right now, they're really taking a hit. So, you know, it's sort of participate at your own risk. But even low risk stocks can you can still sell options on those. Just the income is not very high, right? But it's still not bad, right? So, for example, if I go and I own shares of Meta, I like Meta. That's one of my favorite stocks. So if I had 100 shares of Meta, which would cost me about $65,000. I could sell a stock option on Meta that expires a month from now, and what's this, February, March? Yeah, and I could I could make, you know, maybe 15, $1,600 in a month per month on that, and that's pretty good if you compare that to like real estate. What's the odds I could buy a $65,000 property and make, you know, $1,500 a month after expenses with no work and have it be completely liquid in just something money I can make from my bed. So if you have extra money or you know, access to capital like a HELOC or something, I wouldn't be mad at you if you bought some stock and just sold options on the stock because I think that's a great way to make money. So yeah, so that's just one example. If that's of interest to you, again, you could text the word options to the number 87948, and I can send you some information if you want to learn more about that. And also, we do have the new coin program that we're going to start, which is an options training, a 12-week intensive options training program from options from A to Z. So we meet once a week and literally start from the very beginning. What is a call? What is a put? How do options work? All the way through advanced strategy. So after 12 weeks, you will have covered everything that we should cover when it comes to options, and then you'll get a certificate when you're done. So if you want to talk to someone about joining that, just go to drboycecoin.com. That's Dr. Boyce Coin, COIN, and COIN stands for Certified Options Income Network. So feel free to take a look at drboycecoin.com. Let's see. How do I roll over a federal TSP account to a private company without penalties and taxes and fees? I would speak directly to the people that are controlling your money, Denise. You shouldn't have any problem with the rollover. You just have to have the two companies kind of connect with each other, and and then they should be able to make it happen. Since you're not selling anything, I don't see why there would be a penalty or a tax that comes out of that. Ed, do you sell protected puts once the weekly calls expire? No, because I keep the puts in place as long as I need to keep making money from selling the calls. Shanna says, "What is your thought on the Tucker symbol or ticker symbol APP? I think is that App Lovin'. I think I bought it by accident or maybe because of the name. I don't remember. It's done well. Yeah, App Lovin' is a company that's done really, really well. I don't know if it's going to keep doing well. It's kind of it might be on the bubble, so that's why I haven't bought it. Akila, what math formula do you use to determine how much someone can make every month doing stock options using a specific amount? There's no particular formula. It really comes down to the stock. And so if I looked at Meta and I was selling options on Meta and I did that one example, I can literally look on my app and tell you exactly how much money I would make. So let's say I was with my family. Let's say my family and I wanted to do like a something similar to real estate, but we don't really want to actually own property and have tenants and evict people and stuff. Well, we could actually get together and buy like say $600,000 worth of Meta stock, right? If which is just like buying one multifamily property. A lot of you are doing multifamily investing, and there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of terminology to learn. There's a long lag between when you can actually make the investment and start generating income. The cash flow is not that great, to be honest with you. It's okay, but it's not great. And then also, if you want to get out of the deal, it's very difficult. It's not as liquid as you'd like for it to be, meaning that if you need to get out of the deal like in a day, it would be very difficult to do, you know, because real estate deals, it's easy to get your money in, but it's hard to get your money out. Right? Getting money in is always easier than getting the money out. And with the stock market, it's not like that. If you want to sell within seconds, you can. Also, there's no expenses that come with it, and it's easy. So if I had a family investment club and we wanted to do it like a real estate deal, what we might do is buy 1,000 shares of Meta stock. That would be like buying a multifamily property for $650,000, right? Robinhood on the app will loan you half the money, right? So you don't have to put up the whole 650. You put up like maybe 325, and then immediately we can start selling stock options. So I can sell a call option that expires on March 28th, which is just like collecting my month of rent. If I could pick a pretty good strike price, and if you don't know what strike prices are, don't worry, cover that later. And I could make $13,000 a month off that. If I really want to be super conservative, I could drop that down to 10,000 a month. But that's far better than what you could do on a real estate deal. Most of the time, if you buy a $600,000 property, you can't make 10, 11, $12,000 a month after expenses. You got a bunch of expenses, and then maybe your cash flow becomes 2,000, maybe three or four if you're lucky, maybe five if you're really good. But 13, and then it also requires like a lot of work, and there's liability attached. When we were renting our property in Atlanta, I remember sitting there thinking, what if the carbon monoxide detector isn't working and somebody dies in that house, and then they sue us, and then they try to break the corporate veil and get access to all of our assets. Like just stuff like that would go through my head because you're talking about renting property to human beings, and things happen, right? And I just didn't like it. So we don't rent our Atlanta property anymore. We just took the money and we bought stock and we sell options. We make more money with less headaches and it's much more liquid. So that's why I like options a lot. So if you're interested, again, text options to 87948. I'll send you some stuff. I think you'll like what you see. Um, do you offer this sort of weekly financial wealth strategy session for young male adults? I don't, but I really would like to do that at some point because you know what I did? I did something where I wrote something on my Twitter. My Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins one, Dr. Boyce Watkins one, and I just out of the blue because random thoughts go through my head when I'm in the gym, and I just wrote down literally 13 things every black male should do every day. And I think a lot of people got value from it. And it's just the kind of stuff I take for granted, but it's like, okay, maybe there's some help that's needed because y'all know how I feel about what's going on with a lot of our boys. I think a lot of our boys struggle because we don't respect what men bring to the table when it comes to other men. And I just really believe fatherhood's hard, manhood is hard, the competition is hard, oppression is hard, and a lot of boys are just struggling because they never were pushed into manhood, right? They don't know what to do. And or maybe they're copying some goofy rapper they saw on TV, and these are not men. These are a lot of them are not men. They're if your children hate you because you're such a womanizer that you splattered children everywhere and didn't take care of them, that's not manhood to me. And so hip hop culture, the toxic part bothers me because it promotes black male irresponsibility, it promotes black male ignorance, it promotes black male self-destruction, addiction to alcohol, drugs, and just buffoonish behavior, financial irresponsibility, all the things that make your children not proud of you. All the things where people look at you the way I honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, the way I looked at my dad. I brought up my dad earlier. I should finish that story, but I'm not trying to sidetrack. But I remember my father, my biological father, when I first met him, and I remember I could tell at 14 that no one in his family really respected him. I could tell at 14 that he was a wimp, that he was basically a big, loser. I hate saying it like this. This probably sounds terrible. You're probably like, "Boy, you need therapy for this." Maybe I do. But the reason the contrast was because the father that I had at home was such a solid person in the sense of like he handled his responsibility. He was not a punk. He did man stuff. He took charge of things, right? So that's what I saw at home from my quote unquote stepfather. So when I met my biological father and I see this little flimsy Negro who nobody can keep track of, and he's like a little one of those little slippery type guys, it's like this is not manhood to me. What is this? I can't respect any of this. And I brought him up because I was talking about going from level one to level two. And I said, level one is when you talk about things you're going to do one day. Level two is when you talk about things you're going to do 2 day. So I think you should operate on level two, not level one, right? Level one day I'm going to do this, one day I'm going to do that. One day never comes and nothing ever gets done. What are you going to do today? What are you going to do right now? And I remember him saying, I swear to God, I was sitting there and he said something like, yeah, one day I'm going to get me a Maserati. And I remember just sitting there at 14 thinking, you're never gonna have a Maserati because you're a loser. Right? Right? Just oh yeah, of course you're one day gonna get a Maserati. He never got the Maserati. He never, so my point is to say that I think that just if I can provide some support on that, some guidance, maybe some of you have sons that might benefit from hearing from a man like me. I try my best to be the best man I can possibly be. Ain't nobody perfect. Nobody has it all figured out. I'm sure I have blind spots that are just enormous, but I do my best to be my best. And that's really an important part of the process that I think we don't talk about enough. It's not just, like being the best. Like it's hard to just always be the best. Ain't nobody always going to be perfect. It's just doing your best. I think a big part of manhood is just doing your best. Just show up to be the best man you could possibly be for the given situation, right? Try your best not to let people down if you can, but sometimes you will, right? And I think just that little bit of energy, I think can go a very long way. So encourage your sons with this. So yeah, I made this little list and I'll send this out to you. But literally, I listed 13 things every black man needs to do. One, invest your money in the stock market. Two, exercise at least 3 times per week because the testosterone we've talked through this, right? Breathing, sweating, all that strengthens your mind. It clears your head. Also, the testosterone boosts your confidence when you're lifting weights. Three, read books and learn new skills because a man has to be smart. You have to be able to solve problems in life or you're going to fail. Four, write down daily goals in the morning. Your goals get you on track. That's how you keep from losing focus. Number five, listen to motivational speeches that fire you up. You got to trigger the part of you that you need to show up. There's about 25 different versions of Boyce Watkins that could have came to meet with you today. Literally, there's like 25, maybe 30, maybe 40 versions of me. There's the lazy me, there's the hardworking me, there's the kind me, there's the evil me, there's the part of me that's focused, there's the unfocused me. I got a lot of me's. Believe me, I'm complex. But what I do is sometimes the motivational speeches will cue up the version of me that I need to show up in order for me to do what I got to do. Do you understand? So listening to motivational speeches might help. Maybe, some of y'all might listen to your Kirk Franklin or something. Just something that's going to get you like fired up, ready to go. Number six, study therapy, deep breathing, and other emotional management techniques. A man, and really an adult, generally, I'm speaking specifically about men, but you can apply this across genders in some cases. I think emotional management is just really important for people to be successful. If you can't manage your emotions, then you're not going to succeed in life. So many situations are going to pop up. They're going to make you angry, make you want to quit, make you feel sad, make you just want to give up, whatever. And you got to know how to just manage that. And I find that that's really difficult for traumatized people to do, like myself. Number seven, go to the doctor regularly to protect your health because you just saw Irv Gotti die from a preventable issue. Irv Gotti's a hip hop mogul, and a lot of black men die probably around their 50s, actually. That's when a lot of them die. I mean, for all I know, I mean, I'm not done with my 50s yet, so let me stop talking. But seriously, though, like we die, that's about when we start dying for the most part. Some of us in our 40s, because we don't really go to the doctor. Some guys ain't been to the doctor since they were a newborn baby. Take number eight, take responsibility for the people you love. I believe that part of masculinity is being responsible for something, right? Taking responsibility for something. And what I noticed, this is just a hardcore, honest, ugly fact. I'm gonna throw this out there because it does relate to wealth, and it's 100% biased, but it's something that I've observed. And I said to my wife, I said, "Did you notice that I pointed to three men that we know who were all husbands and fathers. And then I pointed to three other men that we know who've never married anybody and don't take care of their kids. And I said, do you know the difference between these groups of men? I said the three men with the wife and the children have a father who also had a wife and children, who took responsibility for a wife and children. The three men that we talked about, 50 years old, single, ready to mingle, got a few kids or whatever, some of them don't. Not one of those three men had a father that had ever taken responsibility for a family. So in their mind, they're thinking, why would I want to take responsibility for some lady and her kids, or even some lady and my kids? Why do I even want to put up with that? Because marriage is work. Marriage requires problem solving and negotiation, and y'all know what I'm talking about. So a lot of y'all are married. It ain't no picnic every day, right? And some people would look at that and be like, why would you put yourself through that torture? Right? Well, because you believe in something, right? You're committed to something. You want to take responsibility for something, and you want to take responsibility for something in many cases, not all. I know I wanted to take responsibility for something because I saw my daddy do that. And I said, oh, that must be what it means to be the big dog. That's what it means to be the daddy is you're putting all the kids in the minivan with your wife and patiently working through the day as people get on your nerves because this is your outfit, this is your organization, this is your team, this is your crew. You're the team captain. And this is not, and I think this is something that we're losing in our community, to be honest with you, because sometimes I think also when you have the men that never saw that, they saw their mother really taking over and kind of doing everything, which keeps them in that little boy space. Like I'm just gonna sit back and just wait for my wife, wait for my girlfriend or my baby's mamas to to handle everything because that's what black women do. They just sort of do everything, right? And that's a dysfunction, right? That was created out of our experience. So anyway, let me keep going. I'll finish this really quickly. Number nine, learn to start a business and make your own money. Every black man should at least know how to start his own business, because white folks ain't always hiring you when you need them to. Number 10, drink tons of water, get plenty of sleep. I was really shocked by how hydration and sleep are so critical to your health. Like now I'm like, oh man, every time I have a bad day, I'm taking a nap and I'm gonna go drink some water because that those are things you got to do to stay alive, literally. Number 11, pour into and network with high quality people. Get the losers and the bums out of your life, the toxic people that are bringing you down, weighing you down, distracting you, making you the worst version of yourself, pouring you in directions you shouldn't go. Try to network with people that are going to reflect the person that you're trying to be. That really goes a long way when it comes to success. And then number 13, mentor the next generation and defend your damn community. This was specifically, in my opinion, this was for the men. This is your community. I don't talk to me all day about what the white man's doing to your people because all you're doing is you're insulting yourself. If I sit around all day and talk about what white people are doing to black people and I have no solution at all and I'm not fighting back at all and I have no pathway for improvement at all, then that is me pretty much crapping all over myself. That's me saying, "Hey, I'm just a little wimp. I have nothing to say about any of this. I'm going to let this other man come in here and just pulverize my people, and I'm just going to sit back and laugh. Or not even laugh, sit back and cry about it like a little girl or something. I'm not doing that. And again, maybe that's because I know I have skills. I know I can work at something. I know that I am good with finance, right? I can talk to people. I can do my part, right? So I think that as men, I think we got to do our part. Nobody should be able to come in your house and make the rules ever. And that's just what it is. All right. So let me keep going. Okay, when am I going to Brooklyn? I don't have any plans to go to Brooklyn soon. I want to go to Brooklyn. Here's the thing. Okay, so we're gonna do the Miami thing, and I'm gonna just tell you, we haven't gotten the response yet on Miami that I was looking for. So I'm kind of like, do people really want to do this? Like so. Maybe y'all can let us know. My email address is boyce@boycewatkins.com. If you want to email me, if make it short though, because I get a lot of email, but if you want to tell me like what's stopping you from coming to a live event or something, that would be helpful information so I can kind of know what to do to incentivize you to want to get together. Because some of you have bought your tickets, but not as many as I was hoping, as I was thinking, so it tells me there's a disconnect there. All right, so let's see. Victoria, is that ties? Where should one start if we have a family-owned restaurant and 16 grandchildren? Ooh, nice. I'd start with family meetings and just communicating with each other and exploring ideas and brainstorming some things you can work on together and looking at the resources that you have. The biggest resource you have is 16 grandchildren. That's a lot of wealth right there because you have a lot of because wealth is people are wealth, but then also you have a lot of great ideas you can bring to the table. You also have great networks and connections you bring to the table. You have a lot of labor that's available, and then you might even have some money on top of that. But you could be wealthy without money. Never forget that. Hey Gina, happy Tuesday, Dr. Boyce. Thank you for all you do. Do you think McDonald's is a good stock to invest in? Yes, I do. I love McDonald's stock. I'm gonna buy some more actually. Mandisha, what are five practical industries you would share with kids for wealth building? Practical industries. You mean like for starting a business, or you mean for like investment? I mean the three biggest ways to make money in America: the stock market, real estate, and entrepreneurship. Industries. I think it kind of depends on what you're good at. Like there's every industry has money in it. Obviously there are some that are standing out quite a lot, like artificial intelligence and stuff like that. So I think technology is just the king of everything for the most part. But really it kind of depends on what your background is, what your strengths are. So that I would look at it kind of like that. Which platform did you use to buy your Nike stock? I bought it on E-Trade, Nicole. I'm new to investing, just opened a Charles Schwab account, but I do not know what to do next. I would go look at Rodney. I would go look at Victor Oscar Oscar VOO and SPY Sierra Papa Yankee VOO SPY. that would be a great place to start. You could literally stick right there for the rest of your life and do great as long as you're investing consistently and not selling your assets. Tasman, can you discuss setting up an irrevocable trust and the benefits? That would be beyond the scope of this discussion because actually we've been here way too long and I got to let you guys go because I got to actually get ready for stock market class soon. But we do have a legacy investors program at drboycelift.com. So if you want to join the Legacy Investors Club, that goes through estate planning from A to Z. So feel free to go to drboycelift.com. Wallace, is it good to invest with Primerica? Uh, um, I don't dislike Primerica. I don't have any, I mean, and they seem to give decent financial education. Um, I would be really cautious though about. I'm not sure if they're MLM-ish, but I think that they're similar to that, where you got to recruit people and you make money from the recruits from the downline and all that stuff. And MLMs are like a hair away from being Ponzi schemes. They're the only thing that keeps them from being Ponzi schemes is that they actually sell a product, but really a big chunk of the money is made by recruiting new people, and that's what makes it a challenge because it's not to say that they're doing anything unethical or illegal. I'm not saying that at all, but they're very good at selling dreams. And so what they'll do is they'll kind of do things like the Hunger Games, where you'll go to a big conference and there's like a lot of rah 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 stuff happening, and you're feeling good about stuff, and you'll see like a few people on the stage who have made all this money. And but the majority of the people there, 95% of them haven't made that level of money, but they're telling you, hey, if you do this and do this and do this, you can be among this 2, 3, 4, 5% that did make a lot of money. And that just usually does not happen. So that's but you are contributing to their success because the money you paid to be a part of whatever is going on is going into the pockets of the people that are at the top of the food chain. So I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying be thoughtful about it. Just make sure you understand what you're walking into. As a beginning investor, do you recommend buying stocks as holds or options? Which is your suggested strategy? You know what? I think holding, having a portfolio where you hold stocks is really beneficial. I think that having the stock options can be beneficial as well. But if you're a beginner, I would start with the basics. Buy and hold is something that even a baby can do. Newborn babies should own stock. That's something that I want you to consider. So when you have those grandkids and stuff, get them stock, buy 'em more stock, buy 'em more stock, buy 'em more stock, buy more stock, buy more stock. Do that consistently, and I guarantee you they're going to be in great shape financially if you don't sell their stock. Um, Deirdre, please direct me to the book so I can purchase. Oh, yeah. So you can go to 10commandments.boycewatkins.com. That's 10, the number 10, 10commandments.boycewatkins.com. Do you still have the workbook? Fanny? Okay, so let's see the workbook. You know what? I'll text out. If you're on the text list, I will text you all a link where you can buy the children's workbooks at a discount as well. And make sure you're on the text list. Text the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning to 87948. I like that jacket. Is it for sale? Not yet, but we are creating an apparel line. So that is something that I'd like to do for fun. Okay. And can you explain the logo on your shirt? Yes. The logo on my shirt is the same as the logo behind my head, and that's our Panther. That her name is Felicia. Felicia was the name of my grandmother, who introduced me to compound interest, and she went to heaven in 2012, but she comes to every single class, and that's what this panther represents. And so when you see me with this panther, just know that that represents B1. It represents Black wealth. It represents the Black Business School, and it represents who we are and what we do. And it represents the fact that I'm not going to stop doing this until after I'm gone. And even after I'm gone, my goal is to be like Booker T. Washington and have something established so that we'll just keep this going for hundreds of years because we're supposed to be on top of the food chain. And I know that this is what's going to happen if we continue and we're consistent. So all you got to do is take the baby steps, plant the seeds, and the rest will take care of itself. All right. So let's bounce on out for today. God bless you. I saw there were still more questions. We'll do another Q&A session then. That way we'll get a chance to talk even more. And also if you want to join us for the stock market club later on, feel free to go to drboycestockmarket.com. I'll send you all a link out and you can join us there. All right. Have a good day.